On Orleans Street, deep in the heart of Chicago, lies Mr. Beef. Now, this isn't just any sandwich shop. This place is a testament to Chicago's grit, its working-class pride, and its cultural roots. Today, it's become a landmark in both food and film. And we have just about 7 seconds to show you how to get there.
All things go, drove to Chicago. All things know, we sold our clothes to the state. I don't mind, I made a lot of mistakes.
When Joe Zucchero took over in 1979 with his brother Dominic, Mr. Beef became a cultural institution, serving the same classic sandwich through decades of change. Mr. Beef's Italian beef sandwich, a soft roll stuffed with slow-cooked beef and drenched in gravy, is more than a meal. It's a piece of Chicago's identity.
One of the most striking things about this restaurant is the big Pepsi sign. And you're probably wondering, what does Pepsi have to do with Mr. Beef other than the fact that they sell Pepsi? Well, I've never had a Pepsi hit so hard in my life. The Pepsi complements that Italian beef so well. I sent a picture of the restaurant to my dad, who's also a fan of the Bear, and he's a big Diet Coke drinker, and he jokingly goes, well, we can't eat there because they sell Pepsi. And I'm like, Dad, you gotta hear me out on this one.
Today, it's more than just a spot for a good meal. In recent years, Mr. Beef has expanded beyond the food world and into film.
Don't wipe your hands on your apron, Chef.
Jeff. Yeah, so being here, being a fan of the show The Bear was a really exciting experience. It's everything the show makes it out to be. The food is delicious. The show was actually based on this place because Chris Storr, the guy who created the show The Bear, grew up with Chris Zucchero, whose family owns Mr. Beef, and he would tell him all the time as childhood friends that he would make a show about Mr. Beef.
Add this. What am I, a Coinstar? It's like 300. 300 plus one.
Snor and I have been friends since we were in kindergarten. We've been very lucky. We've been very blessed. Obviously, I think you know the history between the Bear and Mr. Beef.
In the shop and the dining hall, you can just see the whole history of Mr. Beef, how it got famous, how people like about their food, and how the Bear was started on 2022 with the article of it. And you can just see whole people eating nice food in Mr. Beef.
So one of the first things that when I was about to come to Chicago that I looked out for was the tourist attractions and the food that I should check out. And the Italian beef was like number one on the list, you know, along with the Chicago style pizza and the hot dog. So when I first got here, I tried Portillo's and like it was great. And I got experience with, you know, with the taste. I knew what to expect coming into Mr. Beef with the Italian beef, but it was just such like a strong, iconic flavor. And I understand now why this was featured in that PBS documentary, Sandwiches That You Will Like.
It's a Chicago thing, okay? It's where it started and where it grew up.
An Italian beef is so indigenous to Chicago that you can only really get it here.
And how working in this place, this like such a close-knit community would inspire something like the Bear. And I think the sandwich itself is very indicative of Chicago's flavor in kind of an undescribable way. And the Italian beef is something that I'll never get bored of. So this is a great place, and from table to screen, it has made a very smooth transition.
Once you enter this iconic restaurant, you're hit with the greatest smell you've ever smelled in your whole life, because you've smelled the beef, you smelled the giardiniera, you smelled the hot peppers, and you just smelled this iconic history behind the establishment. So you start thinking like, okay, yeah, it inspires such a great show, and this is what Chicago film history is about, just being able to express how cinema is like expressed throughout the cities and the streets of Chicago. But without the experience and without the history behind it, and without the food being this good and being this iconic and representing the gritty side of Chicago, then we wouldn't have such a great show and we wouldn't have anything to talk about. And I think it's just so important that we have this very iconic thing in the city that we're able to transverse into a screen.